Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vistupara Paramahanta Paribhasha Kacharya Ashto Tarasata Srimad Abhaya Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitalita Pravishnu Vishnu Padasto Tarasata Srimad Abhaya Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Shad Goswami Ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaitika Radha Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Gangamai Ki Jamunamai Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samabedha Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki Brihat Midanga Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 4th chapter, text number 41. Kvachit utpulakastushnim asti samsparsha nirbita aspanda panayananda salilam militekshana kvachit utpulakastushnim Aste samsparsha nirbita aspanda panayananda salila militekshana Achedu paradaskusmin Aste samsparsha nirbita Salinamiritekshanaha Atigupalatattusmin Aste samspashanibhita Spandapanayananda Vaishnavi Kastyat utpalakastusnim Atit samspashanibhita Kvachit, sometimes, Utpalaka, with the hairs of his body standing on end. Tushnim, completely silent. Aste, remains. Samsparsha, nirvita, feeling great joy by contact with the Lord. Aspanda, steady. Panaya ananda, due to transcendental bliss from a relation of love. Salila, filled with tears. Amilita, half closed. Ikshana, whose eyes. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. Everyone can please repeat. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. Purport. When a devotee feels separation from the Lord, he becomes eager to see where the Lord is. And sometimes when he feels pangs of separation, tears flow incessantly from his half-closed eyes. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastika, Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravashaitam. The words chakshusha pravashaitam refer to tears falling incessantly from the devotee's eyes. These symptoms, which appear in pure devotional ecstasy, were visible in the body of Prasad Maharaj. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Pahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse is a continuation of the last verse. No, Kvachit, sometimes this, sometimes that. This is the nature of ecstatic love of Krishna. it comes in waves, just like the ocean. One wave after another, incessant. There's no stopping. So, feeling a touch of the Lord's lotus hands. Now, Prahlad Maharaj is just a young boy at this point in time. He hasn't, in this Leela, he hasn't met Lord Nrsimhadev. So where is the touch from the lotus hand? Where is it? How is it happening? It's happening because he's remembering. He's remembering. His memory from the very point of birth, even before birth, was stimulated by Narada Muni. Narada Muni spoke the Bhagavatam. It's said that when Krishna was leaving Dwarka, just like we speak about tears, there were tears in his eyes. When he was leaving Dwarka, first before he left, before he got on his chariot, Queen Kunti came and she spoke to him and said her beautiful prayers to Krishna. And then at the end she said, "Let me give up all my affection for my sons." Now one would think, why would she want to give up affection for the Pandavas, who are pure devotees and love Krishna? Krishna is their life and soul. But she didn't want to give up their association. She wanted to give up with the idea that they're her sons. When a devotee advances in devotional service, they see that, just like Chitraketu, when he, after his son, that Harsha Shoka, had left his body being poisoned by envious queens. No. This is why it's a good idea not to have more than one wife. Of course, for the brahmachari, it's a good idea not to have any wife. No. But for grihastas, this was permitted. And so devotees heard about this, and even at one point Prabhupada said, when we can begin varnashram, then some qualified devotees, like someone who has Kshatriya nature, or some capable Vaishya, could have 2 wives. And so a few devotees tried that. It never worked out. No. And then Prabhupada said, anyway, it's against the law. So, no, Prabhupada prohibited it. But even in times when Chitraketu had like thousands of wives, but they became envious because only one of them had a child. So this is the nature of the material world. Even you can live in a very Vedic setting where everybody's trained, but envy. And therefore Krishna says, idam tatte guyatamam pravaksham yanasuyave, that I can reveal this knowledge to you, Arjuna, because you are free from envy. Now, why did Krishna say that? No. He said that for us. If you want to understand this Bhagavad Gita, then you have to be free from envy. No. Otherwise you won't understand it. It will just be some theoretical knowledge. We may learn many shlokas. Sometimes devotees learn, hundreds of shlokas. But if you can't apply them in your life, they're useless. They're just like parrots. You can teach a parrot. Some people have taught their parrot to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said that you may teach a parrot to chant Hare Krishna, but when the cat comes, the parrot will go, ah, ah. No, it won't say Hare Krishna. No. So when the time of death comes, we may know so many mantras, but if we're not living those mantras, if they haven't touched our heart, then you will not remember them. No. Just like Gajendra. Gajendra, in his previous life as Indradyumna, he was a devotee. And therefore, the prayers that he learned were embedded in his heart and his consciousness. And that saved him from the crocodile. But the lesson to be learned according to our acharyas is that, just like Krishna says, that Vishame samopastitam, at this particular time of crisis. Now, when is that? All of us, this is not just something for Arjuna. Again, Krishna is saying it for us. In the time of crisis, what is the time of crisis? What is that time? It's every time that Maya tries to distract us from devotional service. It's not like only on the battlefield, or only, we're actually on the battlefield in any case. In Kali Yuga especially, we're constantly on the battlefield against the forces of Maya so strong. And therefore, we remember these things. We remember what Prasad Maharaj, we remember, we see what it means to be a devotee by what we're seeing here. This is what, sometimes we overestimate our devotional advancement or our position. And Srila Prabhupada said one time, we're talking about separation from Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada said so many times, this is the mood of a devotee. Not just because we're followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Prabhupada said, a devotee should not think I saw Krishna, but Hey Radhe Brajadevike Chalalite, Hey Nanda Shuno Kutaha. That, oh, Srimati Radharani, where have you gone? Where are you? Where is Krishna? Prabhupada said so many times, not that, yes, yesterday I saw Krishna. Last night I saw Krishna dancing. No. We don't want to see Krishna dancing. We want to remember Krishna dancing. But see him dancing means we want him to entertain us. No? Krishna, could you do a little dance? Like people go to, some theater and see people dancing. No, we don't want to, Krishna's not there for our entertainment. Where are you, Krishna? Meaning, I can't reach you. It is impossible. Otherwise, I am a very insignificant person. I am so insignificant that I cannot reach you. This is the meaning of where is Krishna. It means that until one develops this mood of extreme humility, there's no possibility to see Krishna. And we want Krishna to see us. Not to see not to see my pride, but if he will see it in the form of Paramatma, and he will help you get rid of it, if you want to get rid of it. But if you don't want to get rid of it, then he will, Matashmitir Gyanam Apohanam Cha. He'll help you get rid of all these memories of Maya, if you want to be with Krishna and you want to serve him. But if you want to, keep your pride and sustain your envy, then Krishna will help you to forget him and remember whatever the object of your pride or envy is. So that, therefore, the desire in the heart of the devotee is very important. We have to cultivate the proper desire. And here, when we hear verses like these verses, then we can cultivate them. Shri Govardhana. Where is Govardhan? Where and again, is Krishna at Govardhan? Or Kalpapatapa Tale? Or is he sitting below some desire tree? Or Yamuna? What is Yamuna? Yamuna Vanye Kutaha. Or are you in the forest near the Yamuna River? So, Goshanta Vitisarvato Rajapure. Feeling this wanting, shouting Where is Krishna? Not necessarily that they were running around shouting, but meaning the expression, the feeling should be strong, so strong, it's shouting. My heart is shouting out, where is Krishna? I cannot live without Krishna. Shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. I cannot, one moment is like 12 years or more. Probably just put that 12 years or more. It actually means unlimited years. And Prabhupada said in one lecture, we have experienced this. We have experienced this. All of us. Just like a young child. A young child, like, let's say, like we have the children here in the Gurukula, they can hardly wait till 1 o'clock. When will this 1 o'clock come? When I can go and do what I want. Or some other child, when will the weekend come? It's like, 12 years or more. We've all experienced that. When we want to do something, when we want something. So we can measure how much do I want Krishna by how much that feeling is there. It happened to me when I was a young child. It happens to me when I have some intense desire to do something. So this is how I can measure my Krishna consciousness. If I'm practically dying from anxiety, when will Krishna touch me? Like Prahlad Maharaj said here, the touch of his hand. He's remembering that. And we're thinking, when will Krishna touch me? In his most merciful form of Sri Nam. When will he touch my heart? Otherwise, or will I continue to chant with just in like empty chanting? The words are coming out, but the heart is not changing. So this is our supplication. This is what it means, and this is the measurement by which you can understand how attached am I to Krishna. If I cannot live without Krishna for one moment, just like Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, which verse is that? I think it's 9:22. Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, a devotee is someone who cannot but be with Krishna 24 hours a day. That's how you can. Sometimes I hear devotees say, when I became a devotee, and I say, oh, you're very fortunate. I'm still waiting for that moment. Because according to Srila Prabhupada, you become a devotee when you cannot live without thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day. You can't live without that. That's what it means to be a devotee. Until that moment, I'm simply aspiring. I am looking for the association of the Vaishnavas. By that sadhu sangha, satam prasangam mama virya sambido. And I want to associate with what kind of devotees? Mama virya sambido, who are always speaking about the glories and the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because that way, bhavanti vitkarna rasayana kata, the message will enter into your heart. And then you will feel the presence of Krishna. Otherwise, if when we associate with devotees, we will find some fault. Because the envy in our hearts will act in such a way that we're measuring everybody, comparing them. How much more advanced am I than everyone else? This person's like this. Even, it doesn't matter who, devotee society or any society. This is the tendency of envy in the heart. You can understand it when you start analyzing people. You start boxing them in to some psychological or physical or how the modes of nature are affecting them. And therefore Krishna says in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one should understand that everything is happening by the modes of nature. We don't judge the person. We see the pure spirit soul. We see the living entity, Vidyavanaya Sampane, that we if this is real knowledge, when you can understand that I'm acquiring some real knowledge. Otherwise, we should give up any knowledge that doesn't have that effect, where you see clearly, here is a servant of Krishna, even the outside people. And that allows us to feel compassion, and it allows us to give Krishna consciousness to others. If you see them according to the modes of nature, then we'll see their demons. Just like in the beginning of the movement, with devotees, we were all more neophyte than we are now. And Prabhupada would say things like, these demons, these rascals. And we were speaking like that to one another. Just see all these demons, But then it was very difficult to do Sankirtan, because you just think I'm just a bunch of demons, And so then, devotees began to realize that this is not the right mood for giving Krishna consciousness to others. And, sometimes there was one little devotee, he was in Gurukula, and this was in London. And so he was with his mother, and so they met one person, and so the man had some hot dog, something we don't deal with, in his hand, and the little boy said, "Why are you eating meat? That is only for demons." Because demon, like people who are not devotees, demons, they think with horns and tail, and so, big fangs. And he was a little, and then she said, "Oh, it's just that we don't eat meat," and so she was trying to explain, but it was difficult to explain. And the boy is just so innocent, seeing that way. Yeah. So this is what makes it difficult to live in this society. So going back to the actual verse here, Srila Prabhupada says, here is talking about Sambhoga, being united with Krishna. Krishna is touching us. Krishna is touching us. When Krishna left Dwarka, and he entered Mathura, he left Dwarka. And then when he came back when he left Dwarka, here it's talking about tears in his eyes. So it explains in the Bhagavatam that everyone was so affected, even Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. Even though Dhritarashtra had not the most favorable attitude toward the Pandavas. But when Krishna left, he was crying. He knew, actually, when Krishna came to Dhritarashtra, and he wanted to try to convince him to give some, just not, stop what he was doing, stop favoring his sons, and realize who helped the Pandavas. He said, "I know that you are Krishna. I know that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I can't help it." That's why Queen Kunti said, "Please let me give up this family affection." It's very dangerous. Because family affection is simply physical and psychological conditioning that is automatically there. Just like one time when I was very young, we lived in the mountains, and one bear, I was playing outside, and there was a little bear cub. He came up to me. I thought it was a dog. It looked like a dog. I started playing with the cub, and the cub was playing with me. And then the mother bear came. She saw me. She stood up on her two legs and went running. And she was running behind me. And luckily I was very close to the house. Closed the door, and just barely was able to. I was young, so it's a big door, and I closed it. Just got the lock on. She hit the door, and scratching on the door like that. And then she went away. So the point is that she also has that tendency. No, here's my little cub. No, psychologically, physically attached. So it's nothing very wonderful. No. It becomes wonderful. That attachment reaches its reality when we understand that my son, my daughter, my mother, my father, they're devotees. And really, what I'm feeling is a desire to be with Krishna. All this family affection is the root of it is that I want to be with Krishna. I want to love that person who is closest to me. And the person who is closest to me is Krishna. Who can get closer than in the heart? No. You can hold a child, or you can embrace your mother or father, but Krishna is inside. And so He is the closest person. So we're looking for that. Therefore, many times I've said that param, that at every step, everyone is looking for Krishna. Even the materialistic persons, even the animals, they're all looking for Krishna. It's just that they find the substitute. Who do they substitute? That person or that thing which is closest to me. Then we think this is Krishna. But actually there's only one kind of love, and that is love for Krishna. There is no other love. Everything else is just a misinterpretation. I didn't understand. I don't understand what is this feeling within me. So anyway, the tears of loving devotion. When Krishna was leaving, the ladies, they gathered on their balconies and in the roof. And when they saw Krishna, tears began to flow from their eyes. But then there was a dilemma, because tears in the eyes is not considered to be auspicious. It's not, you're not supposed to exhibit that. Especially ladies are not supposed to exhibit that. So, if you have pure love for Krishna, of course it will happen. So they were trying to wipe away their tears because they thought it might create something in us. Because tears are considered to be, like mucus, like something coming from the body, something impure. So they didn't want tears to create an impurity, but they couldn't stop crying. There's a dilemma. Everything in Krishna consciousness, especially when it approaches ecstasy, becomes a dilemma. Just like here, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about that separation. They were feeling separation. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says there are 4 types of separation. The Purva Raga, which means when you're thinking about the person that is the object of your affection, and everything is nicely balanced, that's Purva Raga. But then the next one is Mana. Mana sometimes means anger, or it means interruption. It means there's something that's interrupting the union, that's causing the separation. Like when Krishna wants to be with Radharani, but she knows that Krishna was just with the other gopis, with Sudevi is taking him to the wrong gopis. Then Krishna wants to be with her, but that anger, she won't allow Krishna to come near, because you have been, you have not come to me first. And then there is the separation, paneha, which means that there is some, the separation is prolonged. And then the most intense separation is prema vaichitya. Prema vaichitya means that one is with the beloved, but one is fearing that the beloved will go away. This is prominent among the queens of Dwarka, but also with Srimati Radharani. One time she was sitting on the lap of Krishna, and they were smiling at each other. But there was a bumblebee that came and started buzzing around her, and she was afraid, big bee. So Madhumangal took a stick and he started chasing the bee, and he chased the bee away, and he came back and he said, Madhusudana has left. This enemy, this bumblebee enemy. And she was sitting on Krishna's lap, and she heard that, and she thought, oh, Krishna has left. But she's sitting on his lap. But so intense, these feelings of separation. And the highest separation, which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, that even makes Kurukshetra, the ecstasy in Kurukshetra is greater than the ecstasy in Vrindavan. The highest is, when she's in Kurukshetra, she's talking to Krishna, but she feels totally separated. She's talking to Krishna. She's speaking to Krishna. She's asking Krishna to go back to Vrindavan because she feels total separation. And this is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent his last years in Jagannath Puri, because he was feeling, this is where you can feel that intense separation. And of course, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy would speak about these things every day, every night. They would be speaking about this intense separation. And then there is the union. When Krishna came back to Dwarka, then he was met first with Devaki and seven wives of Vasudeva. And he said, these are my 7 mothers, which also represent the 7 mothers. We have the real mother, the nurse, the earth, etc., the cow. But in any case, so it says there, very interesting, Srila Prabhupada explains, that first they embraced Krishna with their hearts. Then they embraced Krishna with their eyes. Then they sent their sons to embrace Krishna, which felt like it was, when the son is the representative. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the devotees Prataparudra wanted to meet him, and they kept insisting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you speak about this again, I will go away and you'll never see me again, everybody. And then Nityananda very carefully said, would you at least meet the son of the king? First he took a chadar from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and gave it to Prataparudra, and Prataparudra put it on his head and kept that chadar on his head even when he was sleeping. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to see his son. And the son came, and the son was very beautiful and looked even a little bit like Krishna. So he embraced the son. And when Prataparudra saw that, he was so in great ecstasy. So they sent their sons, and then finally they embraced Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada said, if you love Krishna, this is what will happen. First, you will embrace him with your heart. Just like the queens, the wives of the Brahmins in Vrindavan, when they saw Krishna, they became stunned. They couldn't move. He was so beautiful. He was standing with his left arm on one of the cowherd boys and twirling a lotus flower and smiling. When they saw that, they said, and then they began to drink his beauty through their eyes and entered into their hearts. And at that moment, all desires, all material desires and everything disappeared from their existence. They could only... And then they said, they were thinking, these husbands are useless. They don't even love Krishna. And now that we've seen Krishna, what is the use of family and friends They had heard about Krishna all their lives, but they never met him. So the first time. And they said, Krishna, please, we would like to go with you. This family is useless. We want to go with you. And Krishna said, no, it's not a good idea. And they said, oh, we understand. You have your gopis. We'll just stay on the outside of the forest. And whenever you can just come. And even if you don't come, we'll see you every once in a while. And that will be worthwhile. If we just see you every once in a while. And then he said, no, better that you hear and chant my glories. That will be the best way to associate with me. So Krishna was instructing all of us that if you want to see Krishna, if you want to be with Krishna, if you want to feel the touch of Krishna's hand, like here, Prasad Maharaj, then how do we do that? Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna will touch us. Krishna will associate with us. Krishna will enliven us. Krishna will speak to us. Krishna will instruct us. And Krishna will fulfill every personal desire. And just to conclude, how does, there's one verse in the 5th canto, 5:19-27. Somebody can look it up because I can't remember the whole verse. Satyam dishat titam artito nrinam naivar tato. I can't remember it. Somebody can look it up. 5:19-27. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's, yeah. So, yeah, this is beautiful verse. So, it says that this is the demigods, they're praying, and they say, the Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him with such motives. Now, many of us would think, oh, good, no, Krishna will fulfill my desires. Great. This is why I love this verse. No, but then it goes on. Our love may decrease if we have material desires. No, but he does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. No. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it. And that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. So we may desire something, and if we've been performing devotional service and Krishna sees that we have some seriousness, he will say, those desires aren't good for you. Let me give you my lotus feet on your head. No, even though you don't desire it. No, he will do it. But then it's up to you. How do you want those lotus feet on your head? Do you want them like Bali Maharaj? No. Or do you want them like Kaliya? No. So that depends on how seriously we practice our devotional service. No. Bali also got some heavy reaction. No. But, do you want him to just put those lotus feet? No. Or do you want him to pound you? But whatever way, if I can get those lotus feet on my head, anyway we'll be happy. No. Even if it's Kaliya, treatment. So however I can get them. And generally we all see that we've experienced that. Sometimes Krishna's lotus feet are a bit heavy. But if we get that opportunity, get that touch on our head and in our hearts, and of course the best way to experience Krishna within our hearts is by the pure chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But, don't let it go in the heart and out the lungs, no. Let it stay there. And that's our challenge, to chant the holy name and let the holy name cleanse our hearts. And it says that in Bhagavatam, that, what is that verse? Swanam Bhavam Suroruhum. Yeah. What is the first word? Yeah. I can't remember the first. Pravishta Karnarandrena. Yeah. Pravishta, that when this message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead enters into your ears and touches your heart, the heart will open up like a lotus flower, and we will see Krishna sitting there in our original relationship of being his eternal servant. So this is this is what we want. So when we hear this Bhagavatam, when we chant the holy name, if we do it with a very serious mood of surrender to Krishna, then that will happen. He will enter into our hearts. It will cleanse away all undesirable things, just like the autumn rains. The autumn rains are very special. The summer rains are very heavy, so the river is muddy. But the autumn rains are very soft, and then the river becomes very clear. So we want that soft touch of the holy name of Krishna. So these are some thoughts on this verse. I'll stop here. Any comment or question? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for very enlightening and inspiring class. Maharaj Ji was mentioning that we can feel the touch of Krishna by hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam and all. And also you mentioned that how everybody is looking for Krishna, whether they know or not know. So Maharaj, my question is that at my level, I am obviously trying to aspire for these exalted standards, but at the same time, I'm also surrounded by people because of family affection or responsibilities or whatever. And they will also be at their various stages of Krishna consciousness or being aware or not aware. So it becomes a challenge to take care of the dependents, at the same time follow one's own bhakti. That's why, I couldn't come yesterday because of other responsibilities. So likewise, sometimes we might be able to come, we might not be able to come. So my question is basically twofold. As an individual, yes, we have to go deep and take shelter of the holy name and hear and then cleanse the heart. So by associating with devotees, we can do that. But at the same time, how do we manage the responsibilities that is entrusted to us because of friends, family, whatever, as per social level?
Yes. The more we, of course, especially family affection, the more we see them as devotees, then we see the highest manifestation of that affection is if I can convert it into service to the Vaishnavas. I'm serving the Vaishnavas. I'm not just feeling some bodily connection or some psychological connection, but I'm actually serving the Vaishnava. So I always recommend that. Of course, if your family members are not devotees, or not very good devotees, like Prabhupada, his sons, one of his was pretty good, but the other two were not so inclined, nor his daughter. I met his daughter, actually, and she told me that she was in the temple, and she said, I'm so unfortunate because all the time I was with my father, I never realized who he was. But she said, now I realize it. And I said, that's all right, it's not too late. I said, remembering a devotee in separation is very elevated. So she was happy to hear that. So anyway, but if they're not responding in the Vaishnav way that we would like them to, then we do our duty. We do our duty is to serve them as Vaishnavas and give them the maximum possibility to be devotees, and at least the minimum necessities of life that they deserve as family members. And when the holy name really enters into the heart, then it will be possible. Even though, because for a devotee to do their duty, just like Ramananda Roy, he's Vishaka Devi, he was so absorbed in Krishna, but he did all his duties perfectly. Actually, when Rupa and Sanatan first heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they wrote him a letter, no answer. They wrote another letter, no answer. Then they wrote a third letter, still no answer. They thought, well, this is what we thought. We don't deserve, why are we even thinking that he should respond to us? And then they got the answer. And the answer said that when a woman has a lover, she serves her husband very, very carefully, even more than she would if she didn't have the lover. So they understood. They had to think about it a little bit. They understood. You serve the king now. I have a purpose for you doing that. You serve the king, and you can love Krishna. At the same time, you can, and we will meet in the future. Otherwise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was that lover. But for right now, you have to serve the king even better. Don't be negligent, because he had the purpose, and the purpose was that by being government ministers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could send them to Vrindavan, which at that time was dominated by Muslim leaders. So the fact that they spoke Arabic and they spoke Urdu, they could actually deal with and get permission to build temples and all these things. They were very intelligent. So they understood that. And therefore they performed their duty very nicely. So Krishna is sending us also that letter, that do your duty. And if they respond, well, that's so much better. But whatever it is, Srila Prabhupada gave that example. It's not just by chance that Srila Prabhupada's family members were not interested. Because Prabhupada was showing us how important it is to perform our duty. Otherwise, we will be socially ostracized as a community. People they'll think, oh, these Hare Krishnas, look, they don't take care of their family, they're irresponsible. We've had a few of those anyway, more than we needed, devotees being irresponsible. So even if one has the worst family in the world, the most difficult family in the world, still you do your duty, because it's preaching. We're preaching, we're showing people how to be responsible, how to be moral, how to be upright citizens, and then people will appreciate us. So, Hare Krishna. Any other question, comment? Yes, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, thank you for the enlivening class. There were two key points that you were mentioning. One is about attachment and one is about separation. And I have two questions regarding them. Since it's the book distribution month going on, and we are too attached to the scores, so we have to make it. I personally want to know that what will be my mood, or what will be the mood of devotees when we are distributing books on the streets. What do we carry rather than carrying numbers in our mind? What is that mood that we'll carry when we're distributing books?
Well, when Srila Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, just shortly after installing Gaur-Nitai, he said, so here is Chaitanya Nityananda. He said, so when you take the darshan of them, do not leave them in the temple. Take them out with you. They don't want to stay in the temple. So Prabhupada was saying, you see Gaur-Nitai, you keep them in your hearts and say, you take them out on Sankirtan. and you feel that they are there guiding me and empowering me and giving me the possibility to do this very difficult task. And I just want to be the instrument. I know that I'm not doing this personally. It's not by having some special mantra or some, sales technique that this will happen. It is only by your mercy. That's what I recommend.
Thank you, Maharaj. And the second is regarding separation. Now, to have separation from Krishna, for me it seems a little more difficult. But since I've just, my spiritual master has left this earth planet, and there is a little separation from him, how can I reconcile that separation? Because that separation is so unbearable that many times I feel that just give up,
Well, we have to understand the purpose of separation is it creates a stronger remembrance. And that remembrance, especially in relation to the spiritual master, it brings us, it increases our sense of duty and responsibility. So this is why Krishna does this. When Srila Prabhupada left us, we were all devastated. We thought the movement will just disappear. But then, gradually we realized, gradually means like the next day. I was on Sankirtan when it happened. It was almost the marathon, just a few days before the marathon, November 14th. Of course, I heard about it 2 days afterwards because there was no cell phones, there was no internet. So we were doing Sankirtan. I just called the temple, "How is Srila Prabhupada?" And the devotee didn't answer me, and because he realized that I didn't know, and he just didn't answer. And then I knew by not answering me. First, I thought maybe the connection, was bad, but then I heard some noises I could hear, and I just dropped the phone and said, "Oh no, Prabhupada has left." But then, we were all feeling very sad, and then, so by the afternoon, I was the Sankirtan leader, and I said, "Now Srila Prabhupada has left us the grave responsibility to continue his work. So let us go out tomorrow even earlier than we did today." And because this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do. And we did, and we all were able to distribute so many books. We felt Srila Prabhupada's presence.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was of a great solace to me. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. You give very, very vivid examples and analogies so beautifully in your classes. I had one question about this Purvarag, Prema Vaichitya and all these things. So when we preach to the people, we stick to the basics, and then sometimes even after a few years, they take in knowledge, but their surrender is slow. It is not in proportion to the classes they may hear, although or the number of years passed, So
you're talking about people who should have progressed more.
They should have progressed more.
Not like somebody in
No.
The
Those
back
are coming for the weekly programs and regular. So now when we talk about, from nectar of devotion, Purvarag and Prema Vaichitya and this kind of knowledge and everything. So while the class is going on at one plane, on a spiritual plane, their consciousness is hovering on a material plane. So then it remains theoretical for them, and it is something like below the wisp for them. So nevertheless, I see that Srila Prabhupada has given nectar of devotion. He has given, and he has also given commentaries of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was reading Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing in front of Rath Yatra cart, the prayers that he offers. And so these things without compromise, Prabhupada has given. the deep emotions that Lord Chaitanya felt in the mood of Srimati Radharani, towards Jagannath. So my question was this, that while number of years passes, time also passes. So what do we do? Do we speak these things read from Prabhupada's purports and go on giving the knowledge, or we have to stick to the basics? That was.
Well, first of all, Srila Prabhupada said this is a gradual process. So for some people it's more gradual than others. Some people it's so gradual that you may not see any difference. And but the important thing to allow that the message will enter more quickly is by our own example, our own surrender. I always think of Jayananda Prabhu, who would, get up in the morning before everyone else, would wake everybody up, would assemble the devotees and chant. He would go cook the breakfast. Everybody would take prasadam. Then he would clean the kitchen. Then he would take the devotees out to do Harinam. And then he would go drive a taxi to make money so that then he would go buy the boga. Then he would join the devotees on Harinam. Then he would take them back. Then he would cook the afternoon lunch, dinner. And then he would, he would read something, speak to the devotees. And then everybody would take rest and he would clean up and then he would take rest. But everybody was so inspired because seeing that example. It's just like Prabhupada, in the beginning when devotees were hippies and, not very Krishna conscious, Prabhupada just kept giving the example. Because mostly he didn't speak that much philosophy because they couldn't understand it. But just the purity of his kirtan and seeing his sacrifice. So I always recommend that. We understand as if we're in the position of being a leader, that what everyone's serving, so our leadership means service. And the more service that we do, that will inspire people. And some people will be more inspired and others will be less inspired. But just like we have kirtan, and the kirtan enlivens the devotees to do more for Krishna. So all these things together, I've seen that. And we should never become disappointed or disillusioned when people don't respond, because many people won't. As Srila Prabhupada said, don't be surprised who leaves, but be surprised who stays. So, this, and Srila Prabhupada, in classes, we're giving the ideal. Just like, what are we talking about here? Who can relate to this? We can understand it theoretically, but who is having these experiences? Maybe all of you, and I'm just missing out, but, really, we read about these elevated Mahabhagavat symptoms, and the more we hear it, finally it will soak in. Some people it will soak in quicker than others. And then they take it as their sacred duty to, with compassion, with patience, with tolerance, to continue to give the example. And in spite of the resistance, in spite of the negligence, in spite of the ignorance, they just go on. And because that's what Srila Prabhupada did. And that's what we see, that any devotee who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, that's what they do. And, not become disturbed by it. That's my understanding. So I think we'll have to stop here because there's many things and we have to leave soon. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur
Prasad Swami Maharaj ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.